So what did we see? You saw that with technology knowledge you can address a lot of problems, and obviously there's a lot of energy that comes with it when there is the right purpose. And we see that with our employees, with SAP colleagues who work together with us on innovation projects. We also see that, by the way, in students. When we only go to students and tell them, you know, you really should learn about SAP, and then they, you know, they have so much to do, and yes, maybe. But when they then see what great things they can do with the technology, solving real-world problems, that's a huge motivation. And if there's a good purpose behind, then all the better. And Jens again just showed us that technology education doesn't have to be dull; it can be actually fun. And if you do it the right way, there are even new insights in all kinds of fields. So we come now to the next part with Will Ritzrau, and that's a very important part. And actually, if you look at SAP, it's probably the main impact that we have on the world, and that's with our solutions, with our software. Because with our solutions, we help our customers, our partners, to achieve or contribute to sustainability or to the sustainable development goals. There's so much that our software does, so we'll select a few goals, right? And then I think you're even planning an audience participation part where you ask people to choose a goal and then you tell them what they do. There's also an open SAP course, Daniel said it already, I just want to repeat it, we probably repeat it 5 times more. So there is currently an open SAP course. Is it open for registration or is it already running? Running? Monday, okay, so Monday it starts. So if you are interested to learn more about what our solutions do, how they contribute to sustainability, then enroll in the Open SAP course. Now it's all to you, Will.
Thanks, Ben. Unfortunately, after all these fun things you just saw, I'll take you back to reality. Or try to take you back to reality, and how can we actually link the sustainability goals or sustainability or our purpose to our key answer, which is HANA. Right? The key answer of SAP is HANA. Now, just to give you an example, and that's my favorite example, to see how we scale. So how much emissions does SAP have per year, annually? How much emissions do we report? I guess, how much is it? Numbers. Are not allowed. Just guess, is it 5? The measure is megatons of CO2. How much is it? 5, 10, 1, a half? Okay, since you're a little shy, it's 85 kilotons. So 0.38 megatons. How much emissions does BASF have? What do you guess? How much is it? 50 times? Other? 22 megatons. That's a factor of more than 60. They have 4 megatons in transportation alone. So if you, as a developer, help me to take out 10%, 5% of the transportation emissions at BASF, I don't care if you walk to work, if you go 250 on the Autobahn, or if you take your bike. Because the impact you're creating is significantly, orders of magnitude larger in our customer base, right? And that's what we should keep in mind. Everything we do at SAP, we have to do, and it's good for our employees, it's good for our brand, it's good for the well-being of our people, but the impact we create actually through our solutions in our 350,000 customers. So I'm also running our sustainability advisory panel, our external sustainability advisory panel, and one of the things we get always is, well, you have the greatest vision in the world, so help the world run better and improve people's lives, but tell us how you actually help through your solution portfolio to achieve this vision. And we have this vision, and I believe that's since 2010 with Bill and Jim at that time and Peter at that time. But we failed kind of to link our vision to the answers HANA, right? There's a significant gap between a vision and the technology. And if you look how we go to market, it's all about technology. And we had one of the panel members tell one time, you know, who the fuck cares about the answer is HANA if we even ask the question? I see that on every airport. So tell us what your solutions actually do. How does your solution help and execute on your vision? And that's where these sustainability goals actually came in very handy, because it's a globally accepted communication framework. And when you talk to somebody who knows the stuff and you talk about goal number 2, everybody knows that you talk about food. And everybody knows that if you talk about in the context of SAP about food, there'll be some solutions, technology solutions, which in fact have an effect on food. So the question is, how do we actually link our digital core to the Sustainable Development Goals? And what I'm going to show you is a few examples out of a new sales deck, which we're currently producing, which is basically a purpose-led sales approach, and it starts with help the world run better, improve people's lives through products that help customers achieve economic development, social progress, environmental impact, so that collaboratively we can drive exponential progress in solving the world's biggest problems. Assuming that the Agenda 2030, which is described by the 17 goals, are the biggest problems of the world. So we have clustered the 17 goals into the 3 categories of sustainability, economy, society, and environment. And here you are. So how do we get the 17 goals into our digital core, into our digital framework? And what I would like to do is I give you 2 examples, and then you can ask me how we solve any goal. And I'll see if I have a story for you. So let's start with number 1. Reduce poverty by inclusive banking. And what we've done is we basically have looked at customer stories we have and built the sales deck to give examples for every and each goal. So our Dash Credit is an Indian cooperative bank like the Volksbank or the Sparkasse. They have 100,000 not consultants but salespeople running around. Only 34% of the 1.2, 1.3 billion people in India have a bank account. And if you want to get somebody out of poverty, there's basically 2 things you have to do. You have to give them access to financial resources. That's number 1. And the second one is education. So our Dash Credit uses our mobile infrastructure where the sales agents can actually walk around and provide financial services to people on markets. And a potential solution is, for example, that you actually combine this with the small mom and pop retail stores, which are very, very relevant in the Indian society. So people could actually do their financial services while they're doing retail business. That's one piece. The second piece is that all of a sudden, if you have a bank account, you can also get a loan. So if you want to build up a little business, you need financial services. If the bank doesn't know that you have financial services or that you have an income, you will never get a loan, right? So inclusive banking on the SAP platform is a potential solution to help achieve goal number 1. And this has been done in South Africa as well. Many of you may know the example of the Standard Bank of South Africa. It's done in Mexico with Compañeros. It's a similar approach. So inclusive banking is a way to get people out of poverty. Now, why is it good business for us? One of the goals of the World Bank is to get 1 billion people, I say it again, 1 billion people out of poverty. Now just think about it if we would have a different business model where we would get per transaction a little fee. Let it just be a per mil. Just be a per mil. If we would have a slim, inclusive banking solution, we would print the money, right? 1 billion people. 50, maybe 150 transactions per year. Good business for us. Goal number 1. Goal number 2. Reduce hunger, or zero hunger. I think it's called zero hunger. And for hunger, we've talked a little bit about the mango stuff. Hunger has two components. Will be 9 billion people in 2050, so it's estimated that based on the feeding or eating habits we have right now, we need 70% more food. There's two ways to get to the 70% more food. That's one, we have to increase the yield of the produce, while we have to optimize the resources because fertile land is, due to climate change, reducing. The second thing is we have to avoid 30% of post-harvest food waste. Both are IT problems. This is the example of Stara agriculture machinery. So they have an IoT solution where they basically monitor the performance of the tractor, the position, the geo-position, and also you can combine that with weather or with soil properties, and in this way you can optimize the usage of fertilizer, the usage of pesticides, herbicides, what have you, of agrochemicals you use on the field. And in this way you increase the yield, you reduce the usage of chemicals, and while you're using this, the use of chemicals, you're actually reducing the cost for the farmer. So it's beneficial for the farmer, it's beneficial for the environment, and it's beneficial for the consumer because you increase the cost. On the other side, we don't have the example here, but if you have a more strict an optimized way of looking at the food supply and the food demand, you can actually take out a lot of food waste and have a more efficient usage of the resource. So what I would do now, what I would like to do now, is I actually would like to open the floor. Any other goal you would like to have an example? If that is not the case, I would actually like to show you one more thing, because you also, and then Alex mentioned that earlier, that measurement is a significant issue. So what we're trying to do currently is we're trying to actually define a customer impact index, where we also include the SDGs. So the index is a combination of the strategic fit for SAP. Is it aligned, or is the product aligned with the SAP strategy, addressing global challenges? Is it addressing our strategic move towards becoming the most innovative cloud company? And then we're using basically the SDGs to assign a specific score and value to the solution, and then we also say improve people's lives. So a solution which is directly impacting a patient, a consumer, a worker gets a higher score than it is an indirect impact, and in this way we're trying to go through our entire portfolio to do two things. Number one is to basically look at can we say how much revenue we do with sustainable products, or products which create a specific social, environmental and economic impact. And the second thing is basically look at the score of new business cases if they support social, environmental and impact in the future. So we're making conscious decisions if we're really executing our portfolio along our vision and our purpose. So with that, I would actually like to stop and start the discussion with the other bands, if that is, it's okay.